Hello everybody, I hope everyone is doing well and welcome back. So today I'm finally bringing you my skin tint video that I've been working on. I've thoroughly tested out all of my skin tints so I could rank them for you guys. And I think this video took me extra long because I didn't know how to format it, but I couldn't get Jamie Page's skin tint video out of my head. So this video is entirely inspired by her. I love how she took all of her skin tints and ranked them in a tier list. It was just such a fun and exciting watch. I love watching tier list videos outside of the beauty space, but I really hope more YouTubers start doing them. They're just so interesting, and I love this way of categorizing things. I think it's very satisfying, but I'm really excited to be doing my first one today. So before we get into it, I'd love for you to subscribe if you aren't already. It means so much to me, and let's get to it. I pulled up my tier list on my desktop here. It looks so cute. There's a whole website dedicated to this. It's called tiermaker.com. If you're curious and you want to make your own tier list, you can go over there and create your own. It just made this whole process so much easier. But anyways, let's go through it. So on the bottom here are all the skin tints I'm going to be talking about today. And I have my 6 categories right here, so let's go through them now. So the top are my holy grail skin tints, so I'm going to place the ones that I reach for the most often here, the ones that are just perfection in my eyes, the most reliable ones, just my top favorites. The next category is in my rotation, so these are the ones that I go to a lot. I really like them, but there might be a few things about them that don't entirely fit in the holy grail status. The next category here is good, but not a favorite. So I'm going to place the ones that have a good formula, but they aren't entirely my favorite. They may not be the most unique to me, or there might just be a few things that I dislike about them, but I'll go through that a little later. The next category is pretty self-explanatory, forgettable / mediocre. So these are the ones that I tend to forget about or I just find to be okay in formula. The next category is a bit dramatic, but garbaggio. So these are the ones I would totally avoid if you can. And then I thought I would add this one on the bottom because I feel like there's a skin tint release every week and I feel like I can't keep up right now. But this is the haven't tried yet or too new. So I'm going to place the ones that I've only used a couple times here or I just haven't tried yet. So now that I gave you the what's what, let's start placing them into the categories. Okay, so this first one is fairly easy to me. It's the M Cosmetics Tinted SPF Cushion. I love this thing to death. It immediately goes into holy grail status for me. And this is one I reach for when I'm having skin issues. I tend to break out a lot. That's just my skin type. And when I feel like I have very textured skin or I feel dehydrated, I reach for this one because it tends to soften out my entire base and it makes my skin look very smooth and perfected, but still very natural. Like, it allows my imperfections to shine through, but in a flattering way that makes me feel more confident about my skin when I'm not feeling the most confident about my skin, if that makes any sense. This skin tint also pairs beautifully with virtually anything, either underneath or on top of it. It just suits any other products, which is amazing. And it lasts a very, very long time as well. It wears beautifully. It never breaks up on me or anything. It just always looks flawless. So that sits perfectly right there in holy grail. Next up, I have the Huda Beauty Glowish Skin Tint. I really wanted to love this stuff. When I heard that Huda Beauty was launching like a more no makeup line, I was so excited because that's definitely more my vibe. I do really like the other glowish products from that line, but this skin tint I really did not get along with. And I was also left feeling confused with this one because it's kind of like a liquid highlighter as well. You can use it kind of like the Hollywood Flawless Filter per se underneath your foundation if you want an added glow, or you can use it as an actual highlighter on top of your foundation. But when I used it in all of those ways, it never looked great because the pearlescence in it is very silver. So it made your skin look kind of fishy. You know how fish scales have that iridescence to them? It just gave me that vibe. It wasn't really Tin Man-ish, it wasn't really like Edward Cullen-y or anything like that. It was just kind of scaly and weird. It didn't make my skin look human, you know? It just had a silver reflect to it that I just didn't get. And I feel like they added way too much of that pearl in here, so it was super texture enhancing. And as I would wear it during the day, it kind of bunched up in some areas. It like regathered together and it was just weird. It did not make my skin look good in any sense at all. So for me, this is going straight into Garbaggio. It was not good. I would totally avoid that one. It just doesn't look flattering. So the next one I have here is the Maybelline Dream BB Pure. So this is the one that has salicylic acid in here. I did enjoy it the first couple times that I've tried it, but I think the shade range was just way too minimal for me to support. And once I stopped using this, I totally forgot about it and I didn't really miss it, to be honest. I feel like it could fit into good but not a favorite, but I don't really use it ever anymore. So I think it's going to go into Forgettable and Mediocre, just because I do forget about it quite often. I would reach for any of the other ones that are going to be up here over that one, if that makes any sense. So next up, we have the Milk Sunshine Skin Tint. They recently reformulated this one to have reef safe SPF, which is amazing. And they also changed up the packaging so you can buy refills for them now, which is nice, so you don't have to buy the entire component over and over and over again if you're a huge fan of this one. This is one that I have to use mostly in the fall and winter. I find it to be too heavy for my skin in the spring and summer, just because it's pretty glowy and it has more of a balmy consistency. So I feel like it tends to look a little greasy on me in the warmer months when my skin is a bit oilier and I'm sweating quite a bit more. But I've been using the Milk Sunshine Skin Tint quite a bit more these last couple weeks, just because my skin has been getting a bit drier, and it's so beautiful. It wears really nicely, and I do really like how it has that thicker balm consistency, because I feel like it stays put a lot better than a lot of other skin tints that I've tried. So although it looks very, very glowy, it stays put, which is really nice. I would say that this one is in the rotation. It doesn't get holy grail status for me just because I can't use it all year round, but when I use it in the cooler months, I adore it so very much. So this is going to be going in my rotation. So the next one here is the Tarte Hydroflex Serum Skin Tint. I forget the entire name, but anyways, you get the point. This is one that I wanted to work for me so badly, but it just never did. It would look amazing right after I immediately applied it, but after a few minutes, it just would lift right off my face no matter what I had underneath of it. Even if I didn't have anything underneath, it would still do that. It was so weird. I couldn't get it to work or sit still. It would just run away from me all the time. It was really weird. So this one, I'm gonna say Garbaggio. And I got feedback from quite a few of you in the comments of my last roundup saying that you've had the exact same experience, which is just really weird. It might just be too emollient. There might be too much of that serum in there for it to work. I don't know. It was just a very, very odd skin tint. The next one here, you guys already know all about this one. I use this stuff all the time. It's the Fenty Beauty Ease Drops. This is probably one of the easiest skin tints to work with. I just love how it sits on my skin. It's kind of unique because it has a soft matte finish, so I find that it sits on my skin really, really nicely since I do have an oilier complexion, and I gravitate towards this one if I know I'm going to be wearing my makeup for a long period of time, because it just sits still and it doesn't get weird at the end of the day. It pretty much looks the exact same on my face at the end of the day, but my natural oils would have seeped through, but it still looks fantastic. The Fenty Beauty Ease Drops work with everything as well, underneath or on top. It just works and I love it. So this is holy grail status for me. I have a couple shades. I think I need to get an even lighter shade for the winter time because the two that I have are a little bit deep for me right now, but oh my god, fantastic product. So the next one I have here is the JULIAA, I forget its name, what is it? Super Serum Skin Tint SPF something. So I couldn't get my hands on this for such a long time. It wasn't available in Canada for forever, it felt like. Canada is very picky when it comes to things with SPF in it. It has to cover all 3 kinds of rays, and it also can't be sheerly applied. Anyways, Canada's picky. So I couldn't get this unless if it was off Revolve. So I got it a couple months ago and I was so disappointed in this product. It was super stinky and very sticky feeling. I couldn't blend it out properly. I felt like it looked super patchy no matter how I applied it with my fingers or a brush. Even the warmth of my fingers couldn't get it to melt onto my skin nicely. It just was an entire struggle and it stank so bad. I was just so disappointed because I saw so many people hyping it up, or I loved the way the bottle looked and the idea behind the product itself really excited me, but I was highly let down when I actually gave it a shot myself. And also when I did try it in one of my videos, I got a lot of feedback saying that you had the exact same experience. So for me personally, I would say to avoid this one. I'm gonna put it in Garbaggio because that's where it went. It was super stinky. I don't know if I got like a bad batch or something, but I remember I picked up 3 shades and they all smelled the same. And I was like, it must just be the product because this is weird. The next skin tint is the MAC Studio Radiance Face and Body Foundation. I love this stuff. This is a newer addition to my collection, but I've been using it like crazy ever since it's graced my collection. I have been using this stuff at least once a week, probably once or twice a week. It's my go-to foundation on the daily. I just find that it looks so beautiful and natural, and I love how I can build up the coverage depending on how I apply it. Because when you apply it with the brush, you kind of get a Glossier skin tint kind of vibe. But when you apply it with your fingertips, it warms up and it just thickens up. You can feel it as it goes on. It thickening up and adding more coverage. It's such a cool thing, and especially if I'm breaking out or something, I love going to this one. It just makes everything look so natural and soft and seamless. It adds a bit of glow. It's just gorgeous through and through. So for me, it's going to be going in Holy Grail status. It's just entirely beautiful. That top row is looking good. Oh my god, I forget this one's name. It's L'Oreal. It has the longest name ever. I worked with them on a campaign for this one and I could never remember its name. I went and grabbed it. It's the L'Oreal Paris True Match Nude Hyaluronic Tinted Serum with 1% pure hyaluronic acid. It's just way too long for me to ever remember. I don't know why, but I love that stuff. It's really great. I really like the marketing behind this one as well. Their slogan is pretty much feels like a serum, covers like a foundation. It actually has quite a bit of coverage for this type of product. I really adore that one. It feels more high-end than it is. I just currently have a shade that's too deep for my skin tone, so I can't use it year-long right now. I just have to pick up a lighter shade. The one I have is 2-3 Light. I need to go down one shade and that'll be perfect right now. So I think for right now, I'm going to put it in my rotation just because I don't have multiple shades. So I can't use it all year round right now, but it's such a beautiful skin tint. It just does what you need it to do. And it has a beautiful finish. It has like a velvety, I wouldn't say soft matte, but it's not really glowy either. It's kind of right in between there, but it doesn't really look matte, if that makes sense. It's just skin-like, I guess. It has a natural skin finish effect that I think looks so beautiful, and you can easily alter it to look more matte or look more glowy depending what other products you put on top of it or wear underneath of it. I think it's just a very good, reliable one. I don't think I've used this on my channel yet, but I've used it in a few Instagram photos. But I really love this one. I think you guys should definitely check it out if that interests you. It's a solid one. Next up, I have the Laura Mercier Tinted Moisturizer Oil Free. So this one is a bit tricky. I used it this week and I loved it, and I tried to put it on today, but then it looked completely orange on me. This one's weird. I think it's a water-based skin tint, so that's why it tends to oxidize. It doesn't oxidize a ton. It oxidizes slightly, but it still turns a different color than it goes on. Which can be a little bit annoying and not the most reliable in my experience. But when it looks good, it looks beautiful. The finish and coverage is what you would expect from a tinted moisturizer. It's pretty simple that way. I'm just not a fan of how it can dry to a different color. So for me, this is going to be the first one that fits into good but not a favorite. I use it time to time and it looks amazing. It just can sometimes be a little tricky to get around. So the next one here is the Wet n Wild Tinted Hydrator, and I loved this the first couple times that I used it. The thing about this one that kind of put a bad taste in my mouth is the shade range on the Wet n Wild website goes a lot deeper than what it actually is in person. So that kind of made me question a lot of things. When I saw the shade range in person, I couldn't believe it. It doesn't go past someone who has a medium skin tone. So I kind of separated myself from that product. Although I really liked its finish, it was a really nice skin tint. It applied quickly, it went on really nicely, it wore beautifully. I just didn't really like how their website kind of lied. So I have since stopped using it. I've distanced myself away from this product, and honestly since then I have not missed this product at all. I haven't felt like there was a void in my collection at all. I feel like the other ones on top here I'd way rather reach for than that one. So for me, this is going to be going into Forgettable and Mediocre because it was a good formula, but it wasn't anything super special in my opinion. So now moving on to the Glossier Skin Tint. This is pretty much the OG in my opinion. It was the first skin tint that I've ever tried. This stuff is the skin tints of skin tints. This is pretty much like 98% dew water and 2% coverage, if that even. It's very, very sheer. It pretty much just adds a glowy, dewy look to your skin, and it subtly corrects subtle redness. I mostly use this product now to mix into other foundations to get it to be a little bit glowier or lightweight or more sheer. I use the Glossier Skin Tint more as a mixing medium than on its own these days. I think ever since the MAC Studio Radiance Face and Body made it into my collection, it replaced the Glossier Skin Tint. I don't think I'll ever not have the Glossier Skin Tint in my collection. It still holds something special to me. I just don't really use it on its own anymore. So I think for me, it's going to fit into good, but not a favorite, which is weird. A couple of years ago, I wouldn't believe who I am if I placed this here. But yeah, I feel like that's a good place for it. Doesn't fit here or anywhere down there. So now moving on to the Cosis Tinted Face Oil. I wanted to love this stuff so much. I've given it a couple tries, but sadly, it just does not go well with my skin at all. I find that it enhances any type of dryness I have going on, and it also smells like oil paint, which I really don't like. Makes me nervous, and I find that it does tend to clog my pores every time that I have used this. I've woken up with a couple little white pimples on the surface of my skin. I know it's just too much of an emollient product. I just did not get along with this one. I didn't like really anything about it. So for me and for other people, I would tell you to avoid this one. I feel like the other ones up here are much better. So Garbaggio, it goes for me. The next product is the Nars Pure Skin Tinted Moisturizer, and this is the most tinted moisturizers out of all of them here. It's just what you get. It's moisturizing and it's tinted. I am actually wearing it on my skin today. I think it's a really great one. It's quite reliable. It's only done a weird thing, I think, twice on me, but that must have been whatever primer I was using underneath, or maybe my skincare was fighting it. But I really like this one. I don't think it's holy grail status for me because it isn't the most reliable, I guess. But every time I use it, I'm really happy with my result. I really like how I can build it up if I'm needing more coverage in some areas, but overall it looks super natural. So for me, it's gonna be going into my rotation. I really, really like it. I feel like that's the perfect spot for that one. Next up is the YSL Nude. So this is quite new to me. I've only used this once so far and I really, really liked it. I just have a shade that's a bit too warm for my skin tone right now, so I might pick up another one because I feel like this one has a lot of potential. It felt really nice. I think it wore beautifully. And it was quite reliable the one time that I used it. It didn't get weird with any of the new products I tried on top. So I have hope for this one, but it's still too new for me to completely determine where this one goes. So it's going to be going into haven't tried yet or too new. Next up, this is the Tower 28 skin tint that they just announced that they're launching soon. It may be launched by the time this video is up, but I'm extremely excited to try this out. They're launching a beautiful shade range with it, which is so nice and refreshing to see, because I feel like a lot of brands, when it comes to skin tints, they make excuses that their shade ranges are very flexible, so therefore they come out with less. And it's not always the case. Like, I feel like you can still be very inclusive. I don't know, I don't get it. I feel like they make a lot of excuses in the skin tint realm, but Tower 28 did not do it this time. I'm very, very excited to try this out, but I have not tried it yet. I hope I get it early so I can try it out for you guys as soon as possible. And I hope it's amazing so I can bring it on my trip to Hawaii coming up. It would just be awesome, but it's going here. Haven't tried it yet, or too new. And the last one I'm going to be talking about is the Nabla Skin Realist. I've tried this, I think, 3 or 4 times now, and I'm not a super fan of it. I find it does have the word balm in there, so it does tend to lean a bit too greasy on my skin, and I find that it doesn't get along well with a lot of other products, especially cream ones. I find that it tends to make them look really weird quickly, but I still feel like this one is too brand new to me, and this is a perfect example of what I was just talking about. They came out with a pretty small shade range, but this one has quite a bit more coverage than I'm used to seeing in this type of product, so I don't really feel like the shade range is that flexible in my opinion. I feel like they could add more shades in there for sure. I don't feel much towards this one yet. So I kind of feel like it could either go in Forgettable and Mediocre or here. I'm going to place it here because I realistically have only tried it 4 times. Here we are. Here is my final tier list. It looks good. It looks good. So let's go through it. So let's start on top with my favorites, my holy grails. So the M Cosmetics Tinted SPF Cushion. Love you so much. And the Fenty Beauty Ease Drops, and the MAC Studio Radiance Face and Body. So those are my 3 go-tos. The next category in my rotation, I have the Milk Makeup Sunshine Skin Tint, the L'Oreal Paris True Match Nude Hyaluronic Tinted Serum with 1% pure hyaluronic acid, and the Nars Pure Skin Tinted Moisturizer. Next category, good but not a favorite, the Laura Mercier Tinted Moisturizer Oil Free, and the Glossier Skin Tint. Moving on to Forgettable and Mediocre, the Maybelline Dream BB Pure Skin Tint, and the Wet n Wild Tinted Hydrator. Now my most dramatic one, Garbaggio, the Glowish Skin Tint from Huda Beauty, the Tarte Hydroflex, the Cosis Tinted Face Oil, and the Ilia Tinted SPF. And lastly, haven't tried yet or too new, YSL New Tower 28 Skin Tint and Nabla Skin Realist. Okay, this video was probably 10 times more fun than I expected it to be. This was a blast. Please let me know if you'd like to see this again, and if so, what would you like to see me rank next? This was incredibly fun. I'm ecstatic about this one. And I really hope you enjoyed this one too. But that is all from me today, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you did like today's video, please give it a like. It would help me out so very much. I'll make sure to link all of these skin tints in the description down below so you can check them out for yourself if you'd like. And I'll see you in the next one. Love you. Bye.